Welcome to another presentation of the Cognitive Security Institute. The views expressed by presenters are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of, or endorsement by, the Cognitive Security Institute or any affiliated organizations. Humanity stands at the threshold of an unprecedented technological revolution. Advances in AI-powered autonomous systems, direct neural interfaces, and immersive digital connectivity promise to redefine human capabilities. However, this transformation also presents profound ethical, security, and existential challenges that demand proactive and thoughtful action. The decisions we make now will shape the trajectory of our species and determine whether we thrive in this new era or falter under its weight. You may learn more about cognitive security and how to become involved in this rapidly growing community by visiting our website at cognitivesecurity.institute. If you find these talks interesting, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. We hope that you enjoy this presentation. Leonid Rozenberg is a threat intelligence researcher and Infostealer malware subject matter expert at Hudson Rock. Leonid's background includes almost a decade of experience in cyber threat intelligence and dark web hands-on research in leading companies like IntSights, a Rapid7 company, and Checkpoint. Before joining forces to fight cybercrime, Leonid served as an intelligence specialist in the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli National Security Agency. Hudson Rock is a cybercrime intelligence company that specializes in sourcing compromised credentials from Infostealer infections. The company's core uniqueness is that the data is sourced directly from the threat actors before it becomes part of the cybercrime monetization chain.
Hello, this is Dr. Matthew Canham, the Executive Director of the Cognitive Security Institute. Imagine a type of malware designed with the sole purpose of stealing as much of your information as possible. Now understand that this is not a figment of imagination. This is our current reality. Infostealing malware steals passwords and cookies stored in browsers, enabling attackers to bypass MFA. This presentation to the Cognitive Security Institute covers Infostealer capabilities, method of operation, and how the compromised data from Infostealers directly impacts business. We hope that you enjoy this presentation to the Cognitive Security Institute.
So hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Leonid, and this is my absolute pleasure to join this session and talk with you about our topic for today, and this is going to be the Infostealing malware. And when Matthew from Cognitive Security Institute reached out to me, I decided not only to speak about this topic to raise the awareness about this threat, but also connect and speak about the human factor involved in this malware, and you can see later how it connected everything those together. So a few words about us. I'm coming from Hudson Rock. Hudson Rock is a cybercrime intelligence company based in Israel, founded back in 2020 by two founders, Roy and Alon. And we're doing one and only single thing. We deliver actionable threat intelligence from the computers that were infected in a global Infostealer infection. And this is the exact topic that we're going to speak about it today. But don't worry. It's not going to be a hardcore tech talk, because one of my goals here is to simplify this topic that each one of you will understand and know that this threat exists. And before I move on, I want to say a personal thank you to each one of you that found the time and decided to join and hear me talking about this cyber threat. So without further ado, let's start. So as I mentioned before, my name is Leonid Rozenberg, and I'm doing different types of intelligence roles for almost 2 decades already. I started my way in the government sector, 4 years in the Israeli military intelligence, and then 6 years in the Israeli National Security Agency. And after those 10 years, I decided to move from real-life intelligence to a cyber intelligence. And this is how I discovered the dark web research. And during the last 10 years, I'm doing this in the private sector, in the private threat intelligence sector. I'm from here, everything is history. I led this vertical at Rapid7 and also Checkpoint. And from 2024, I joined Hudson Rock, and happy to be on board. And when I see this number 8,000, it scares me all the time more and more, because 8,000 represents 8,000 hours spent on the dark web, completely undercover, talking with their threat actors, understanding their modus operandi, and trying to predict what is going to be their next step. So from here, I think that the best way is to dive in what we're going today, what I call on-the-shelf menu. So first of all, I will explain what is actually the Infostealing malware. I'll do it in a very simple way that everybody can understand it. Of course, I'm going to connect it, as I told you, to the human factor. We're going to see how everything is connected to the dark web, and I'll mention a few delivery methods and some misconceptions about this threat. Of course, we're going to have a Q&A session that I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. In total, all my talk here is going to be between 30 and 35 minutes. Of course, by the way, later after the session, you're going to have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on the LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to elaborate about everything. So what is the Infostealer? What is the Infostealing malware? And as the name suggests, it's a malicious software that knows how to locate and exfiltrate. And exfiltrate is a fancy word for the steal sensitive information from your computer. And now you can ask me, like, Leonid, what is actually the sensitive information? What are you talking about? And number one, the Infostealers will target your password and cookies stored on your computer. So I believe everybody is familiar with this screen that you see right now on this slide, that you create a new account on some kind of third-party service, and you have your email, you have your username, you have your password, and then the browser asks you, do you want to store it inside the browsers? Next time, it will be very convenient to log in. And most of the people will say yes, because indeed it's very convenient that you don't need to remember any passwords, you don't need to do any actions just to log in. But what is happening in the background, those passwords will be stored locally inside your computer, and the Infostealers know how to steal this data from there. It's stored in the encryption version, but Infostealers know how to decrypt it. So number one, when they try to locate sensitive information, it's going to be your passwords and cookies stored inside your browser. Number two, and this depends a little bit on the malware family, because there is around plus minus 20 different malware families, and all of them have different kinds of fancy names. They will know how to do a scan on your computer and search for additional sensitive information. And what it can be your sensitive work documents. They know how to look for some kind of patterns on the files, and if they find something, they will definitely steal it too. Or maybe if you think that you are trying to trick the system and create a file with the name of your cat, with the name of your dog, or maybe your parrot, and store inside maybe credit card number, maybe seed phrase for your crypto wallet, or something else, Infostealers will know how to scan those files too, and at the moment that they see some kind of interesting pattern, like crypto wallets, like personal information, they will know how to exfiltrate this also. So Infostealers targeting two main types of the data: your password and the cookies, and the rest that can be sensitive. But it is what's happening in 2024. But it was not something like that back in 2020, back in 2007, excuse me. So I suggest you do a quick history lesson, something you definitely, you will not hear any kind of academic university. So back in the days, and I'm talking about 2007, the threat intelligence community saw the first type of the Infostealing malware, and it was called Zeus. And this malware knew how to steal only one and single type of data, and it was banking credentials. So threat actors were targeting only banking credentials. 1 year later, in 2008, the threat intelligence community saw another type of the Infostealer, and it was called Cobface, and it was targeting Facebook accounts. And again, threat actors were targeting only one and single thing, And in this case, it was the social network accounts, like a Facebook. I'm jumping to 2011, and what happened in 2011? That this malware that already talked about a few seconds ago, the source code of this use was leaked, and it was basically the inspiration for the other malware developers to create a new types of the malware. But around 2016, we saw some interesting change. The threat actors, basically the bad guys, said, why, if we already managed to get to the situation that we have a victim that clicks on some kind of malicious link and then execute this malware, why we need to target something one, like a banking credentials, like a social network accounts, and steal something one when we can steal simply everything, okay? And this is the reason. From 2016 until 2024, we saw this change that the Infostealers started to steal not something one, but simply everything sensitive on your computers. And again, I'm talking about the passwords, I'm talking about the cookies, I'm talking about data from the crypto wallets, some sensitive tokens, and the list here is very, very long. You're going to see some examples a little bit later. At 2019, we have additional types of Infostealers with another fancy names like Redline, Luma, Redamantis, and basically at 2023, we saw another evolution in the Infostealers where they started to target also the Apple-based Mac OS devices. So this is the history of the Infostealers in a nutshell. And now I want to show you an example what actually the threat actor, basically the bad guy, sees after the data was stolen from your computer. And this is something like that. It is very organized. Every data is stored in different kinds of folders, in different kinds of files. So all your autofills, and imagine yourself, you maybe have in the autofills your home address, your phone number. Maybe people store there some kind of more sensitive information like social security number for the US audience. You have the cookies. I'll explain how the cookies are monetized a little bit later. And of course, you have this file called passwords.txt. And guess what is inside? There are the passwords. And now I will show you the example of one of the victims that basically all kind of data was stolen from there. We will see this step by step. And by the way, on the professional language, this combination of those folders, yeah, it's called Infostealer log. So if you hear me mention something that's called log, this is type of the data. So let's take a look inside. Number one, I want you to understand that Infostealers always steal passwords in a clear text version. There is no such thing as the hash passwords. There is no such thing as encrypted passwords, basically the same. Infostealer will know to steal exactly in a clear text version. So for example, for the attacker, for the threat actor, it's very simple to understand what kind of email address and what kind of passwords are related to which kind of service. And here, obviously, I needed, unfortunately, to censor everything. I cannot show publicly passwords and emails of victims, and of course, the affected domains. But I can tell you that the first two belong to the big financial institutes in the States. Later, there is a personal email account of this person. And later, we can see also retail accounts and some payment accounts. When I mean payment accounts, it's something like PayPal, yeah? And retail is something like Amazon. So this is the personal data that was stolen. And this data will be monetized in different way. So the bank account, obviously, the threat actors will log in and try to steal the money, basically to cash out everything that is there. If a social media account, most likely it will be hijacked and then resold. There is a huge demand for stolen social media accounts. You have a bunch of different ways how you can use them. It's completely another story, but most likely it will be resold for some kind of another malicious purposes. And of course, if you have access to the payment system, it can be used for the money laundering. Okay, this is again completely different story, but all those kinds of accounts will be monetized. And those are personal accounts. Let's take a look what we also can find is this kind of log, and we can find work-related information. And this gentleman here, he stored VPN and remote connections to his company. And it means that if I have a URL, I have a username that can be a username or an email, and have a password in a clear text version, I can monetize this corporate access for different kind of malicious purposes. For example, ransomware deployment. We see a lot of cases when the ransomware gangs are buying remote accesses from the other threat actors based on the Infostealer infection. But if you don't want to do an immediate damage, you can use those accesses for corporate espionage. So basically what you're doing, nobody knows that you're even inside. You're simply waiting and checking what this company is doing, again, for corporate espionage. And if one of the credentials here is business email of some kind of high-level executive, of the CEO, of the VP, of maybe some kind of director of sensitive department, I could do a business email compromise. And this is how this business-related, work-related data will be also monetized later by the threat actors. And the last one, let's don't forget about the government. As you know, identity theft is a very big issue in the United States, in all over the world, yes, but in the United States specifically. And if I have an access to somebody personal government account, when like the holy grail of personal data, when all the data there is exposed, I can simply take this data and use it for identity theft. Okay, we all know that using that 2 years ago, that people and up to today, people use stolen identities for some kind of benefits, for some kind of unemployment benefits, and so long and so long. And this is, of course, another topic also. So this is a glimpse how the data from the Infostealer is used and looks from a threat actor eyes and perspective. And again, everything here will be always in a clear text version. And this is not surprising that at Hudson Rock, we see an almost 6,000% increase in those kinds of attacks. All right, we saw the beginning of those attacks back in 2018, when it became, the approach of the threat actors that said, okay, let's steal everything and then take a look what there is inside. And year over year, we see increase in such kinds of attacks. And we still didn't finish the 2024, but believe me, unfortunately, the numbers they are not so good. It's on the rise, and probably the Infostealer will stay with us for a long time because of the value the threat actor get from those kinds of infection. And later, I also will show you how easy it is to be Infostealing malware owner and spread this malware to all the people. But now people will come and say, Leonid, that's good. Okay, I understand. There is a potential that my personal email, or maybe my personal account, or the work account, or government account will be compromised. But today we have something really good that it's called multi-factor authentication. And it means that if I will execute login, I will get another layer of security, and I will get an SMS with some kind of code, or maybe some kind of one-time access via the email, or maybe a push on my notification app. So I'm secured. That's not a problem. That's not the issue. So even if something will happen, that's okay. And unfortunately, I have a bad news here too, that the Infostealer, the data that they take, the cookies that they steal, will help the threat actor to bypass the multi-factor authentication. And the cookies, as you know, and if not, that's okay. This is the small part that third-party service leaved on your computer like a file. Basically, this is your active session. So the next time that you log into your LinkedIn, to your Facebook, to your another kind of third-party service, they see, oh, all right, we know you. You're Leonid. Come inside. We don't need your authentication again. So what the bad guys they're doing at the moment that they see that there is a multi-factor authentication, they go and first of all see if they have a valid cookie. If yes, they just copy paste it, and then they will be able to hijack this active session. But then maybe they will do another step, and this is a little bit more interesting. If they think that there is anti-fraud system that monitors your user agent, for example, if you're logging in from Windows-based device, from macOS-based device, your location, they can also take the data from the stealer, because the stealer also know the exact location, the IP address of this person, and the time zone, and what kind of operation system it has. And using another type of a black hat software that is available on the dark web, they know not only to take the cookies, but they know how to make the virtual copy of your machine, to impersonate to your machine. That will help to bypass also the anti-fraud system. Okay, so the MFA is definitely can be bypassed using this kind of a data. Let's move on, and I just want to show you how this problem is global. Yeah, so at every area that you see some kind of yellow color on this map, it means that there are cases of the Infostealer infection. Technically, it's a worldwide problem. And in the United States, according to November 2024, we know that there is over 500,000 of those cases. And maybe you can say, Leonid, well, 500,000, it's not too much, because United States, it's a big country, a lot of people, and you show me here only 500,000 of those infected devices. But imagine yourself that every device is considered as a standalone data breach. Okay, so just imagine to yourself how many passwords you have that you use every day. Probably you have maybe 100 accounts. Yeah, for example, me, I definitely use over 100 accounts for different third-party services. So each one of those 568,000 of computers is a standalone data breach that has another tens, hundreds, and maybe thousands of passwords. So the real number here, you need to add to this number a few zeros more to understand how many of identities, how many of those passwords, usernames, and the URLs were actually compromised. We actually have in our database also foreign infections from North Korea, surprisingly, yes. But and the leader here is Brazil. It's over 1 million. So just to give you some kind of another examples. And now you can ask yourself, so if it's a global issue, like here, you see infections all over the world, how it can be, how basically what's happening under the hood, like how it's working. And the interesting news here that this type of a malware operates as a service. Exactly like we have software as a service, we have a malware as a service. And it means that you don't need to be a high-end developer. You don't need to be some kind of top 10 most wanted hackers by the FBI to spread this malware. You simply can go on the dedicated forums, cybercrime forums on the dark web, and buy this malware as is in a subscription model. I will show you in the next slide how it looks. Super interesting. And you don't need to do anything, because the threat actors, the malware developers, they will sell you, they will give you this malware as is, like a turnkey solution, including the support team, including the customer success team. They operate as a cyber business. They will have a pre-sale that will guide you what to do, how to deploy. And if you have some problems, they will maybe to refer you to another partners that can help you to set up all the environment. And again, it's like a completely legitimate business, but unfortunately, this is a not legitimate business. And this is how it looks. Okay, this is a screenshot from one of the notorious Russian language forums that basically they sell this kind of a stealer. This is an example of Medusa stealer, one of the known ones. And you have the full technical description. It knows, as you can see, it knows how to steal the data from 100 browsers, from the crypto wallets. It will steal the history, the bookmarks, autofills, data from the Telegram, all the tokens, whatever you want. Okay, they will give you on the other hand, they will give you a web panel when you can see all those progress of the stolen data, all the status. And just take a look here. You need to pay $199 for 1 month, and if you're willing to do for a lifetime subscription, even over 1,000, and you're a happy malware owner. And again, you don't. And this is the reason that we see a lot of new types of protectors that entering this business because of this low level of financial requirement. Basically, for $200, you can be a malware owner, and you can find also deals for $99 a month. And this is some glimpse of how it looks from the threat actor's view. So you can see this is a management panel that you can see here all the statuses, all the malware delivery statuses, and this is like a daily how it looks like. So one of the malware owners, one of the Infostealing malware owners, managed to steal over 6 million passwords, over 3,000 crypto wallets, and the data here is crazy. And only today, you can see this on the screen, he managed to infect over 1,300 of computers. Okay, so this is like just that you will understand how this management panel looks from the hacker point of view. This is very interesting. And it brings me to the next topic: how basically this malware is delivered to the end person, to people like us. Yeah, and there is a few known ways how the threat actors do it, and let's quickly take a look for a few of them. So number one, this is the classical phishing. Okay, you sit at your home, at your work, doesn't matter, and you get an email that you won a great vacation, amazing vacation to Thailand, that you maybe won a lottery, that you know these kinds of emails. And what you need to do, you just need to click on the link, execute the file, and the rest is the history. So number one, this is the classical phishing that is sent directly to your email. Number two, then this is interesting. Here the stuff start to be a little bit more interesting. The fake ads. So those are ads that you see on your typical Google search that somebody try to sponsor it and to be number one in the results, but it's instead to be number one in the results for the good purposes. This is a completely fake ad that will redirect you to completely fake website that will guide you to download completely fake software. And usually the bad guys, they know how to exploit the human factor. And for example, if you're looking for something like free Photoshop or for some kind of software that will help to make your computer a little bit faster, or even if you're looking for some kind of mainstream software, they will try to trick you that you will click not on the actual link but on the sponsored, on the fake one, go there and download again completely fake software. And this is a big problem. Fake ads, again, Google, they're trying to do their best, but we see that sometimes they miss and you have those fake ads. Number three is social media. And I would like to remind you that I talked to you before that social media is on high demand. Those accounts are monetized in different kinds of ways, and this is one of them. So the threat actors, they take stolen Facebook, stolen YouTube accounts, and then from there they send malicious links to other people. Interesting things happens with the YouTube. So I can hijack YouTube account and just change the links in the description. And I believe that all of you heard a lot of times that YouTubers say, check my link in the description. People believe them, but I changed the link as a threat actor, and now it is malicious, and now it redirects you to some kind of Infostealer infection. So social media is definitely monetized also for this kind of malware distribution. And the last one is the pirated software. A lot of people are looking for free Photoshop, free Adobe Premiere, you name it, cracks for the games, Fortnite skins, GTA games, something like that. And this is widely spread on the torrents. And yeah, they will get the game. They will get the software, but they also will get the stealer. It's some kind of trade-off. You get the free Photoshop, but you give all your personal, corporate, and government passwords to the threat actor. So this is some of those examples how this malware is delivered. Of course, we see more and more different unique way that threat actors try to find, but those are the core ones. And what happens next when this malware is delivered and the threat actor they manage to steal all this information? At Hudson Rock, we call them category 1 and category 2 threat actors. So category 1, they only care about one and single thing. They want to infect as much devices as they can. Okay, as much devices as they can via those fake ads, fake software, torrents, exactly what you saw a few seconds ago. Later, they even don't care what there is inside. They just want to pass it to category 2, and the category 2, those are the next type of the bad guys that will take a look inside and then find those juicy remote accesses to the companies. They will find those business emails of the CEOs and etc., etc. And later, when the threat actors from category 2 found something that is interesting, they indeed checked that it works, they managed to log in to some kind of company, one of the examples, they will take this data, they will take this access, and then they will go to the Russian forums, Russian cybercrime forums, and resell this for further type of monetization. It can be ransomware, it can be corporate espionage, whatever you want. And those are the examples that this is the access on to US-based companies. One on the left side, this is from the educational sector. On the right side, it is commercial and real estate construction sector. They mention how many employees, what is the revenue, and they sell it. Okay, and they sell it, and this access, one of them is sold for $3,000 US, one of them is sold for $2,000 US. But this is the way how this works under the hood. Yeah, you have the bad guys that infect, you have the bad guys that they monetize, and then you have the last chain of, not the last, but at some point, this kind of data will also reach the dark web forums. So we approaching, unfortunately, the end. We're close to the end of my presentation. Those are stats for today. We're aware about 30 million of compromised machines, over 4 million of compromised employees, 11 million of compromised domains, and we add to our repository around 500,000 of infected machines every month. Well, this is the stats worldwide. And before we finish, and before we go to the Q&A session, I want to show you 5 misconceptions about the Infostealing malwares, 5 mistakes that are directly connected to the human factor that people tend to do. Number 1, antivirus will protect me. Unfortunately, no. because some of the Infostealers, they know how to bypass them. Not all of them, but it can happen. But we can see something also. You can see that the people that execute this malware indeed have some kind of warning sign on the screen that says Windows Defender or whatever, any kind of company will say, I believe that this is a malware. But what people do, they disable the antivirus and run this file again. Okay. So antivirus will not protect you. Or the malware will bypass it, or you will simply shut down the antivirus by yourself. Because you want this, unlimited life in the GTA or new Fortnite skin. Number two, the multi-factor authentication will protect you. And as we discussed here before, we have the case that those stealers, they take also the cookies. And if I have the cookie session, I can simply hijack this valid session account and execute the login. And also here, multi-factor authentication. It is not 100% security solution. Number three, some kind of complex and long password will protect me. And also here, I have a bad news. This is not, because the Infostealers, they steal passwords in a clear text version. Again, I will remind it, in a clear text version. And it doesn't matter if your password is 100 characters or 200 characters. It will be stolen exactly as is. Number four, Apple devices don't have any viruses, and it will protect me. No. Also here, this is a very, very big misconception. Around 2 years ago, we saw the shift of the threat actors. They started to develop those kinds of Infostealers also to the Mac and Mac OS devices. There's still not too much of them because the bad guys, they want to target the most common system, and this is the Windows. But definitely, Apple devices are targeted too, and there are Infostealers for Apple devices too. And the last one, and maybe this is the most important one, the wrong mindset. It will not happen to me. And I hear a lot of people say, this is great, but this is not will happen to me. It will happen to somebody else, but not to me. The crack for the GTA that I downloaded, it will be clean. The fake Photoshop that I download also, that will be clean for sure. I will never click on some kind of malicious ad because I'm never clicking on that. Okay, so the wrong mindset is a big, big, big problem here. So those are the 5 misconceptions that I wanted to share with you and for obviously for everybody who will see this in the recording. And of course, the last tip is how basically know about your personal exposure. And here I want to invite you to use our free tools. They're completely free, no registration required, no credit card required, nothing is required. You just can go to the hudsonrock.com. You will see these free tools. You can enter your email address, you can enter your domain, you will get immediate result if it was infected in the stealers, yes or no. And if you're a business and you have even one result of infection, you're welcome to reach out to us. We have an ethical disclosure policy, and we will be able to give your data completely for free without any obligation. This is something that we do to everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation to the Cognitive Security Institute. You may learn more about topics in cognitive security by visiting us at cognitivesecurity.institute.